Good afternoon. Welcome to preparing for year-end close and the printing of your year-end tax forms with Sage 50 US Edition. While we allow time for everyone to get logged in, just a few housekeeping tips to ensure a quality experience. We're streaming live, so it's highly recommended that you close any bandwidth-heavy apps. We have also disabled cameras and microphones to maximize audio and video quality. This webcast is being recorded. We will be sharing the recording of this webinar to our YouTube channel and Community Hub. You also may ask your questions throughout the webcast using the Q&A chat feature, and we do ask that all questions are kept within the topics of this webinar. Now, before we get started, I wanted to give you an opportunity to put a face to the voice you'll be hearing throughout this webinar. My name is Damian Ben-Sibi, and for the last 12 years, I've had the privilege of supporting you, our valued customers. As a part of the coaching enablement program, I've helped create the standards we use daily to better support our staff and customers like you. And additionally, I've been supporting our Microsoft 365 software for over 2 years. And before we get started on the main topics of this presentation, I would also like to introduce you to our Sage 50 US Year-End Center. We recognize the demands on your business and why you're attending this webinar. That's why we put significant effort into our Sage 50 US Year-End Center. To help you avoid longer hold times during this busy season, we've already done the work for you. We're proud of the resources we've developed, available 24/7 to support you. This includes step-by-step guides, compliance checklists, and support resources like helpful links to articles and videos addressing frequently asked questions. We also offer learning materials to help you better understand the year-end process. At the end of this presentation, we'll provide a link to the Sage 50 US Year-End Center along with an overview of its key features. Today, we'll cover how to print your tax forms W-2s, 940s, and 1099s. We'll also review how to ensure you have the latest supported version of the Sage 50 US software installed, discuss best practices for backing up your data, and explore how to access and use our Sage 50 US Year-End Center, a valuable resource for all your year-end questions. We'll go over helpful payroll tax reports to assist with your year-end, along with knowledge articles that provide complete guides and additional information on the topics we've discussed. And we'll wrap up this presentation with a detailed walkthrough of the year-end wizard. Let's get started. So make sure you have the latest version of your Sage 50 US software installed. Many payroll and year-end features are only available in the most recent version, so it's crucial to verify your software is up to date. The only supported version of Sage 50 is the Sage 50 US 2024 edition. To confirm your current version, simply open the Sage 50 US software. From the main screen's top menu bar, select the Help menu, then click About Sage 50 Accounting. This will open an information window displaying your current software's release, along with other useful details such as your serial number, customer ID, installed tax service or your payroll tax update, and your support plan's renewal date. Here, you can confirm the release or version of your software. For example, you might see that the Sage 50 Accountant Edition 2024 is currently installed. Depending on any patches or updates applied, you might also see the release followed by a designation like SR1 or other prefixes indicating the type of patch or update. The build will also be displayed in this window. Here you can see it's 31.0.00.0097. This can be helpful if you're trying to confirm the latest build on several computers for sharing or networking purposes. We'll provide more information on how to check for updates later in this presentation. Next, I'd like to discuss the importance of regularly backing up your Sage 50 data to multiple secure locations, including cloud storage and external drives, to ensure data integrity and quick recovery. You can back up Sage 50 company data to multiple locations, such as OneDrive, external drives, hard drives, and set up automatic backups to Microsoft 365 for comprehensive data protection and easy recovery. Starting the manual backup process is as easy as opening your company and selecting the File menu on the top menu bar. When selecting Backup, you'll be presented with backup options, such as to remind you when you haven't created a backup within a specific number of days, include the company's name in the backup, which is recommended for easy identification, and to include archives or attachments. Your customized reports, forms, and financial statements are automatically backed up during this process. When selecting where to save your company data, selecting the Save In menu will drop down the File Explorer, displaying all the locations you can save your backup. In this example, I chose my OneDrive folder. Clicking the Save button will then create your backup in the chosen location. Other methods of backing up your data, such as using our automatic backup configuration tool and Microsoft 365's automatic cloud backups, will be provided at the end of this presentation. Let's continue with how to access your payroll tax forms and the printing of your federal tax forms W-2s. You can access your federal tax forms in a couple of different ways. You might be more familiar with clicking on Reports and Forms, located on the top menu bar of Sage 50, Forms, Tax Forms, and then Payroll Tax Forms. Clicking Preview and Print will display the list of the federal tax forms available. These options are also available on the Employees and Payroll Navigation Center by simply clicking Forms and then Federal Forms. Filtering from top to bottom, you can then select the W-2/W-3 form under the Available Forms section, your filing period, and finally the employees for the W-2s. By default, this will always be set to all employees. And click OK when ready to proceed. If this is the first time processing your tax forms, you'll load the company's setup wizard, where you're given a choice to test drive the wizard. You can use this option to see how it works without saving any information. Otherwise, you can select No Thanks, Start Processing My W-2/W-3s, and click Next. On the next screen, confirm your company FEIN and click Next. Please note, if the FEIN is incorrect here, you'll need to cancel the process and correct the information under the menus Maintain, Company Information. Once corrected, you can restart the W-2/W-3 process and confirm the FEIN is now correct, and then click Next. Next, you'll confirm if you're using multiple payroll data files or a single payroll data file, and click Next. And on the next screen, you'll verify your company information and click Next. Please note, if you need to make any corrections to your company information, you can make those changes directly from this screen, and then click Next. Confirm your tax preparer type, either filing for my company/employer, or I'm a third-party paid tax preparer filing for one or multiple companies' EINs. Then click Next. You'll then be given the opportunity to verify any state and local tax items. You can make your edits on this screen if needed, then click Next. On the following screen, you'll need to confirm some data verification questions. Once you've answered yes or no to the 4 questions, click Next. You'll then need to enter your W-3 information and click Next. Here, you can select how you'd like to truncate your employee's social security numbers, then click Next, and Sage will begin opening the W-2/1099 preparer spreadsheet. Here, you'll verify the employee information in blue and click Next. If any errors are found, an error will appear providing the details of the error. Click Go Back and Correct to make your corrections and click Next. Next, you'll verify additional employee information highlighted in blue and click Next. After that, you'll move on to verify the federal information highlighted in blue and click Next. I also want to point out that you can modify any of this information on these screens. Here, you're verifying state information, again highlighted in blue, and click Next. Lastly, you'll verify all other data and click Next. At this point, you'll see some general options for e-filing offered by Atrix. You can click Next on this screen to get to your W-2 printing and filing options. Here, you can choose to complete e-filing a la carte service, and your pricing will be based on the forms you're processing, or select my own options, which include printing. Even if you select to print, on the next screen, you're given one more option to e-file before starting your printing process. Just select No, and then click Next. And on the following screen, select the states you want to file, and click Next. Clicking Next will bring you to a screen that will allow you to review your selected options. Click Next to display your actual forms. The first report that displays lists your employees' W-2s. If you need to view them, you can click on the arrow in the upper left-hand corner of the form to see them individually. When ready, click Next Step, and you'll get a reminder that the W-2s require the 4-part perforated paper with pre-printed employee notice on the back. If needed, these can be purchased from Sage Forms. Simply click OK to continue and print. When you click Next, your second report will display. This is typically your 941 federal W-2, which cannot be printed on the perforated paper, so you'll get a warning. Click Next Step to begin printing and move on to the next form. Your next form will be the 941 federal W-3. Just click Next Step to print. After that, depending on your state selections, you might have additional state reports to print. Simply select Next Step to move through each and print each form. Continue to click and print through your specific state forms. And finally, your last report will be the employer W-2. And after clicking Next Step to print, you'll reach your W-2 history file options. This will display your last completed actions. It will also give you some available options like reprint completed W-2s and correct completed W-2s. Choose an option as needed or close if you're complete. Now we'll discuss printing the Form 940. To print the 940 form, we start in the same place with our selection of the form and filing period. When we click OK, the form will open displaying its processing steps. When you click OK on the pop-up, you'll get another pop-up reminding you to complete the required fields in red. When you click OK, you can enter the line 13, which is few to tax deposited for the year. You will then tab to your next red field, which should be the title on page 2. After that, you'll need to click Next Step to print your copy. If you have an amount due, 940V will be attached. When it displays, click Next Step to print your copy. Just verify that the report is complete by clicking Agree to get your copy. Afterwards, click Print, and then Next Step to get to the federal copy. And finally, you'll get your options to either e-file or print your federal copy. If you choose to print, you'll get a prompt to confirm processing is complete. When you select yes, the form will close. Moving on, we'll cover the printing of your tax forms 1099s. To print the 1099 form, we again start in the same place with our selection of the form and the filing period. When we click OK, you'll be greeted by the 1099 setup wizard, if this is the first time processing your 1099s through Atrix. You will also be provided with the options to test drive the processing of your 1099s. This feature allows you to go through the steps to get more familiar with the process, but without saving any of the information. To proceed with the printing of your 1099s, simply select the option, "No thanks, start processing my 1099s/1096s." Click Next to get started. The 1099 company setup wizard is similar, if not the same in many respects, to the company setup wizard you may already be familiar with when processing your W-2s and other payroll tax forms. First, confirm the payer TIN and click Next. On the next screen, make your selection that, yes, I use multiple 1099 data files for this EIN, or no, I use a single 1099 data file for this EIN, and click Next. Enter your payer information, along with any required information that isn't already filled in. You will receive a message with directions to fill in the missing required information, if needed, such as address 1, contact name, phone number, or email address. Click Next to continue. And on the next screen, you'll be prompted to select one of two filing statuses: filing for my company/employer, or a third-party paid tax preparer filing for one or multiple companies' EINs. Make your selection, then click Next. On the next screen, being that Sage 50 doesn't withhold any state taxes on our 1099s, this screen will also display blank. Just click Next to continue. The same holds true regarding any local tax items, so just click Next to continue. On the following screen, you'll be prompted if you have any recipients who elected to receive only 1099 forms electronically, no printed copies. Make your selection and click Next. Following that screen, you'll be provided with the options to truncate recipient identification numbers on all recipient copies. You will also select if you'd like to print RANs on recipient copies that are reported as zeros. Examples of both are provided. Make your selections, then click Next. You will now be presented with the 1099 Preparer spreadsheet. This sheet will display all the relevant 1099 vendor information for your review, starting with verifying recipient taxpayer identification numbers. You can use the scroll bars at the bottom of the spreadsheet to scroll left and right to view additional details. After reviewing, click the green Next arrow to continue through the spreadsheet. After clicking Next, you may receive a pop-up reflecting that errors were found and will be highlighted in red. This may occur if there's missing required information, such as taxpayer ID numbers, or in this case, the recipient has no accounting data, which you can see here highlighted in red. Simply click Go Back and Correct to fill in the missing information, then click the green Next arrow to continue. Now that we've filled in the required information, the Prepare spreadsheet has continued forward. You'll be presented multiple screens in which you can verify your information is correct. Make corrections if necessary, then click the green Next arrow to continue forward. Simply continue through the 1099 Preparer spreadsheet, verifying your information and clicking the next green arrow to continue. After reviewing and completing the 1099 Preparer spreadsheet and clicking the green Next arrow, you'll be presented with the opportunity to sign up for the Atrix Complete e-file service. You can click Enroll on the bottom left for more information, or simply click Next to continue to print your 1099 and e-filing options. On the next screen, you will again be presented with the Atrix Complete e-filing service, along with pricing and some additional information on that offering. If you wish to select your own options, which include both printing and e-filing, click Select My Own Options. You can now select your own options either to print, e-file, or both. For this demonstration, we'll be selecting the options to print the recipient 1099 copies, federal 1099 and 1096, and the state 1099 and reconciliation forms. Please note, two new pop-up menus will appear when unselecting the option to e-file. There are new federal regulations stating that organizations filing in aggregate 10 or more IRS returns in a calendar year of any kind, including W-2s, 1099s, 1095Cs and Bs, will need to file all required returns electronically. Because of this, there are some reduced pricing when e-filing both your federal and state forms together. Please check these new federal guidelines to see how they might specifically apply to you and your filing period. Then click Next to continue. You will again be presented one more time with the benefits of the complete 1099 e-file service offered through Atrix. If you'd like to enroll, simply click the button Yes, I'd like to continue with the complete W-2 e-file service. Then click Next. If not, just click Next. If you have elected to file state copies of the 1099 forms, you'll have the option to select or deselect any forms that you would like to print or omit. Click Next. Here, you'll be provided the option to print a copy of your 1099 forms for your own records. You can select the Print button to print any copy for your own records, or click Next to continue. You will now be provided with your federal 1099 form. You may review the form to make sure all the information is correct. Clicking Print Final will then display a prompt advising the official red paper is no longer required and that the federal 1099 miscellaneous copy cannot be printed on perforated paper. Insert your plain paper into the printer and click OK. You will then be provided the option to choose your print method, whether that's your local printer or to PDF. Simply confirm your selection and click OK to print your copy. You can then click the green Next Step arrow to continue. You will now be provided with your federal 1096. Again, you may review the form to make sure all the information is correct. Clicking Print Final will then display a prompt advising the official red paper is no longer required and that the federal 1096 copy cannot be printed on perforated paper. Insert your plain paper into the printer and click OK. As before, you will then be provided the options to choose your print method. Simply confirm your selection and click OK to print your copy. You can then click the green Next Step arrow to continue. If you elected to print any state-specific forms, they will appear now. You may review the form to make sure all the information is correct. Clicking Print Final will then display a prompt advising to please insert the 4-part perforated 1099 paper you purchased now. Insert your perforated paper into the printer and click OK. Please note, there are different perforated part forms requirements for the 1099 miscellaneous, 1099 NEC, and 1099 INT forms. Please review our knowledge base article provided in this presentation to see which specific 2, 3, or 4-part perforated forms apply to you. As before, you will then be provided the option to choose your print method. Simply confirm your selection and click OK to print your copy. You can then click the green Next Step arrow to continue. The next form provided is your 1099 miscellaneous recipient. Again, review the form to make sure all the information is correct. Clicking Print Final will then display a prompt advising to please insert the 4-part perforated 1099 paper you purchased. Insert your perforated paper into the printer and click OK. You will then be provided the option to choose your print method. Simply confirm your selection and click OK to print your copy. You can then click the green Next Step arrow to continue. The next form provided is your Payer 1099 Miscellaneous. Again, review the form to make sure all the information is correct. Clicking Print Final will then display a prompt advising to please insert the 4-part perforated 1099 paper you purchased. Insert your perforated paper into your printer and click OK. You will then be provided the option to choose your print method. Simply confirm your selection and click OK to print your copy. You can then click the green Next Step arrow to continue. And the final form provided will be the State 1096. Again, review the form to make sure all the information is correct. Clicking Print Final will simply bring up the prompt to print, as you can print this form on regular printing paper. Insert your plain paper into your printer and click OK. Then click the green Next Step arrow to continue. And that concludes the printing of your Forms 1099s. You are now presented with the 1099 History options, which shows you the latest completed forms and gives you the options to either correct completed 1099s, e-file or print incomplete 1099s, reprint completed 1099s, or start the process over, and to look up any email or print recipient online access information. Make your selection if needed, or select Close to complete the process. When processing your payroll tax forms, there are several payroll tax reports that can assist if needed with verifying the data on the payroll tax forms. Here I've listed the payroll tax forms you can use to assist with your payroll tax forms. The tax liability report, the quarterly earnings report, payroll tax report, and the payroll exception report. These reports and their uses will be provided in our knowledge articles at the end of this presentation. And finally, we'll go over the closing of your year by running the year-end wizard. The last thing we'll look at today is the processing and running of your year-end wizard. Some very important information to know is the year-end wizard walks you through the process of closing out your first open fiscal year, payroll tax year, or both. Before starting, print any unprinted items such as invoices and checks. Also, make sure that there are no purchases that are marked as waiting on bill. The year-end wizard can be a very lengthy process depending on the size of your company. Be sure to give yourself enough time to run the year-end wizard, such as during a lunch or after hours. Also, make sure to keep the computer running and all other applications closed. Finally, this is a single user task. Make sure all other users are signed out of the company. We can now access the year-end wizard directly in the System Navigation Center under Data Maintenance. When you select Run Year-End Wizard, it launches the Year-End Wizard welcome screen, which allows you to verify your current open years, then click Next. Here, you will see your close options. Make your selection and choose Next. You may encounter a couple of issues that may not allow you to proceed with the Year-End Wizard. If there are any purchases marked waiting on bill or any unprinted items that you wish to print, you will have to cancel the wizard, resolve the issue, and then start the wizard again. If no issues are preventing you from proceeding, the next screen that displays allows you to print your fiscal year end reports. When they're complete, you can click Next. On this screen, you can choose to run the internal accounting review. However, if you choose to run it, you'll have to start the year-end wizard over again. You can skip both the printing of the year-end reports and running the internal accounting review by simply clicking the Next button. On the next screen, you'll be forced to make a backup of your company before continuing. So click Backup, complete the backup process, and when the backup completes, the Next button will activate. Clicking Next will take you to your Archive Company screen, where you can choose to archive your company. Make your selection and click Next. The next screen that opens will allow you to view your current fiscal or calendar year in read-only mode and your next fiscal year with options to adjust the dates if you'd like to do so. Please note, it is not recommended to change your fiscal or calendar year structure from this screen, as it will result in company corruption. If you need to adjust your fiscal or calendar year, we have documentation that can assist you with rebuilding your company, or you can submit your company data to Sage's data team for a lists-only rebuild. On this screen, the wizard is confirming the year-end close, which fiscal and/or tax year will close, and which you'll have open upon completion. Click Next. On the next screen, you can complete the year-end wizard. Depending on the size of your company and other factors such as computer memory and if the computer is a standalone or a local network workstation, the process can take a while. Click Begin to close and you are ready to proceed. Please note, although it states recommended, I would advise to uncheck the Run Data Verification box before clicking Begin Close, as it could interfere with the year-end wizard and makes the year-end wizard take much longer to complete, depending on your company file size. Also, in a local network environment, you want to run the year-end wizard from the server computer if possible. This too can prevent interruptions and significantly speed up the process. You will have a status bar showing the progress of your close, and when it is complete, you'll get a congratulations screen. You can verify your open accounting years to confirm success, and click the Finish button to complete the year-end wizard. The Sage 50 US Year-End Center is your go-to resource for a smooth and efficient year-end process. It offers comprehensive tools and guidance to help you close out your financial year with ease. Key features include step-by-step guides, detailed instructions for year-end tasks such as closing the books, generating financial reports, and preparing for tax season. Checklists, handy checklists to ensure you don't miss any critical steps. Updates and downloads, access to the latest software updates and tax forms. Support resources, links to helpful articles, videos, and customer support for any questions or issues. And learning resources. Sage University for Sage 50 US is an online learning platform designed to help users get the most out of their Sage 50 software. It offers a variety of courses and resources tailored to different skill levels and business needs. Make your year-end process stress-free with the Sage 50 US Year-End Center, ensuring accuracy and compliance every step of the way. I've also included knowledge base resources that you can reference to get more familiar with the topics we discussed in today's presentation. The following are knowledge base articles going over backing up your data and the processing of your payroll tax forms. And these knowledge base articles go over some of the year-end topics discussed today, including information that can be found in our year-end portal. And if you need assistance beyond the knowledge base, don't forget about live chat, which can be accessed through the Sage Support Resource Center or in product. Thank you for attending the Preparing for Year-End Close webinar. We covered how to ensure your Sage 50 software is updated to the latest version, how to back up your company data, processing your payroll tax forms, and the use of the year-end wizard to close out your year. And at this time, I'd like to go over some of the most asked questions and answers during this presentation. Okay, I have an excellent question here. Can you please tell me when the 2025 tax update will be released? The first January 2025 tax update was released on December 17th, 2024. You can download it in your Sage 50 software by going to Services and check for updates. Okay. I have another excellent question. How does the 2025, or the year 2025 open? So the year-end wizard process will close the first 12 accounting periods and open the next 12 accounting periods based on your accounting structure. So if you're a calendar year from January to December of 23, and then January to December of 24, the year-end wizard is going to close out January to December of 23 in order to open January to December of 25. Okay. Okay, we have another question similar. When I run the year-end wizard for 2023, will it leave 2024 open for transactions and then open 2025? Yes. When you run the year-end wizard, it will close out your year of 2023 to keep the year of 2024 open. So in case you still have work to do, and it'll go ahead and open up the year of 2025 so you can start fresh next year. Here's another great question. Is the tax form wizard part of the year-end wizard? No, the tax form wizard is separate process. It's not associated with the year-end wizard. So there are two different processes. Here's another great question. Can we print the W-2s on regular paper instead of the four-part perforated paper? So the employee W-2 copy should be printed on a four-part perforated blank paper with the W-2 filing instructions on the back. Okay. The employer copies can be printed on regular paper. So employees have to be on the four-part perforated paper. The employer can be on regular blank paper. Okay. Here's another great question. Is there a way to leave 2024 open for transactions and still open 2025? Yes, absolutely. When running the year-end wizard, only the first 12 accounting periods will close. So if you currently have 2023 and 2024 opened, it's just going to close 2023. It's going to leave 2024 alone, and it's going to then open 2025. So your new open years will be 2024 all the way through 2025. Okay. So yes, you'll still be able to enter transactions in 2024 after you run the year-end wizard to close out 2023 and open 2025. Excellent question. Is there a way to print W-2s and other tax documents without closing 2024? Yeah, absolutely. You don't need to run the year-end wizard in order to print your W-2s or any other payroll tax form. Okay. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Excuse me. Excellent question. Will this be available as a recording? Yes, a recording of this presentation and the slide deck will be available shortly after the presentation on Sage's community site. Okay. Great question. How do you enter the DBA correctly in vendor management? You would enter the DBA name in the name field on the vendor record. Okay. Another great question. Where's the knowledge base? The website for our knowledge base is www.sagekb, as in Kilo Bravo, .com. So again, it's www.sagekb.com. Here we have another question. When does a year-end wizard need to be done? So there's no specific time. The year-end wizard can be run at any time you wish to close your first 12 accounting periods and open your next 12 accounting periods. So whenever you that need arises, you can run the year-end wizard at that time. Okay, here was another good question. My accounting period is April 1st through March 31st. Do I only want to close the payroll period first or both? So in the case of a fiscal year that does not follow a calendar months, it's normal to it normally only requires to close the payroll tax year. Okay, so only the payroll tax year. And here's another great question. Can we edit any purchase orders left from 2023 when the year is closed? Unfortunately not. It's not possible to edit or adjust transactions in closed accounting years. Okay. And here's another great question. If I need to do payroll checks for the first week of January of 2025, do I have to wait to close 2023 for year end? If the payroll checks will be dated in January of 2025, then you will need to ensure that the 2025 accounting year is open. Normally, this would mean closing the 2023 accounting year. Okay. And here's another good question. If I have the Sage 50 Premium 2024 edition, do I have to access the do I have access to the W-2 forms? Apologies. So if you have the Sage 50 Premium 2024, yes, you do actually have access to the W-2 forms as long as you have a valid payroll subscription. Okay, here's another good question. If you close your accounting periods for 2024, how can you book potential audit adjustments? So it's not normally required to close your 2024 accounting periods if your first open period accounting year is 2023. So you'd only be closing out 23 to access 25. Your 2024 year will still be open. Here's another great question. Can 1099s be adjusted if you change ERP systems during the year? Yes, both 1099s and W-2s can be manually adjusted in the tax form preparer. Okay, so that is a yes. And we have another great question. If I do not run the year-end wizard in December, will Sage automatically open 2025 for operational use? No, unfortunately not. You must run the year-end wizard process to open the next 12 accounting periods. Okay, it will not happen automatically. And here we have another question. Is data purged for past periods during the year-end process? No, the purge process is separate from the year-end wizard. So no data will be purged. Here's an excellent question. For 1099s, do I need to run the entire process for each type of 1099? Miscellaneous, INT, NEC, etc. Yes, you will need to run the 1099 process for each type of 1099 you file, be it miscellaneous, NEC, INT. Okay, those are all separate. And here we have another great question. When you close on the server, do you have to do anything on the employee's desktop computer? So that would be like in a local network environment. No, closing the year on the server will also close it on any of the workstations because they're all accessing the same data. So you only have to run it once from the server and it'll automatically close for everyone else. Here's a great question. What is the correct sequence of applying tax updates versus W-2 processing? Is there any order? So tax form updates will automatically be installed when you open the payroll tax form preparer. So when you actually try to access one of your payroll tax forms, at that time, you'll see the prompt for the update for Atrix tax forms, okay? Here's another great question. Can I modify the local withholding taxes in the preliminary screen before running the W-2? Yes, the local tax information can be modified in the W-2 prepare a spreadsheet, okay? Okay, here's another great question. In the year-end wizard, what is the purpose of archive company? Well, the archive creates a read-only copy of your data. So if you don't have any necessary need for a read-only copy of your company, like you need a read-only copy to give to your accountant or someone who's helping you with your books, there's really no need to make the archive. You can just click next to skip it. Okay, so that's just a read-only copy of your company when needed. If you don't need it, you can just skip it by clicking the next button. Here's an excellent question. Can you complete the 1099s without the payroll part of Sage or without having a payroll subscription? Absolutely. The 1099 data pulls from the accounts payable module. Payroll is not required at all to process your 1099s. So you do not need a payroll subscription to process your 1099s within Sage. You have another excellent question. So my backups are taking so long to complete. How often should we purge data, and does that help? So the amount of time backups take to complete will vary greatly depending on the size of the data. Purging periodically can help reduce the size of the company data, which should speed up the backup process. You can purge your data as often as you like. We got about 5 minutes left in the presentation. I want to find some questions that we didn't already answer. Can there be a webinar for purging? I'll certainly try. Was one of the questions. Excellent question. Can there be a webinar for purging? We'll definitely look into it. Okay, here's another great question. Can you enter 1099 info without going through accounts payable? For example, just put the name, social security numbers, addresses, and the amounts directly on the form. You do have the option to manually enter data directly on the 1099 Prepare spreadsheet. Okay, so you can just access the 1099 Prepare spreadsheet, enter all the information you need, and process your 1099s that way. They don't necessarily have to be pulled from the transactions, purchases, or basically the accounts payable module. So that is possible. You can manually enter that data. Okay, here's another great question. If I use Atrix for W-2s and 1099s, will I still need to purchase the four-part forms? Yes, the forms should be four-part blank on front with the instructions on the back. It's for the W-2s. Employee copies. Get some time for a couple of more. Let me see. Here's one. Great question. Is there a reason not to purge if the years are closed? So purging will remove the data from closed years from the system. If you desire to keep that data in your current copy of the company, then purging is not something you'd want to do. Okay, only if you're okay with and wanting to delete all of the data in your closed years, that's where the purge would come in to reduce the company file size and usually increase performance. We got time for one more. What procedures can I provide to our IT team to run the year-end wizard on the server? Well, the year-end wizard will walk them through the process. To simply access it, have them open the company, go to tasks, system, year-end wizard, and the year-end wizard will then display. And they just follow the steps, and it should get them through that. SageKB.com also has excellent articles on how to run the year-end wizard in our year-end center. Yeah, I think that's all the time we had today for questions. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much.